I've had my Deskmate set up for 5 months now, and I wanted to show you guys all the modifications I've done to it and just give you a little update. So we'll dive right in. This is not going to be anything fancy, just on my phone, and we'll get this uploaded today. So this is my Deskmate 3.8 gallon Pico Reef tank, and I just wanted to go over some of the livestock before we get into some of the modifications I've made to this kit. And to start out, right on the top are some scarlet leg hermit crabs, which are gorgeous. I've got 2 of them, and I also have a pair of designer clownfish, and they're doing really well. They've been in here for about 4 months, and they're really tiny. I got them as juveniles, and they, you know, really make use of the whole space. They swim all around. They seem to be very happy. I did have a rose bubble tip anemone in here, but it got sick, and I don't know what the issue was. And it you know, kind of dissolved. So they were living in that. They were happy, and I'm hoping to pick up another one here soon so that we can give them a house, maybe 2 or 3 of them, just to give them some options. We also have some green branching coral. I forget the name of these off the top of my head. They're in my main display tank. They're kind of like a tree, and they're growing nicely, actually. They're growing under the light, which we'll talk about in a second here. We have some blastos, some green and purple blastos down here, and we also have the mushrooms. These are Iron Man mushrooms, and we also have some, I forget the name of these guys too, but they're like bumblebee. I don't know why I'm not focusing, but it's they're like bumblebee striped snails. I forget what they're called. It's something to do with like a leopard bumble or something like that. But anyways, they're pretty cool. But let's talk about some of the modifications we've made to the kit. Evaporation on small tanks is a huge issue. So what I do with my below tank and my main tank below and this tank here is this greenhouse siding. So you can get this on Amazon. You can get a pretty big sheet for, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks. And I've made several lids out of this. And what I like about this is that it's reinforced. You can see there's channels here. So when I did plexiglass, it would literally droop in the middle, go into the water. There's no structure to it. This has a lot of structure, and it cuts back on a ton of evaporation. I made a separate one for the back here. It's just a smaller strip. Boom. And that's how I deal with any evaporation issues. So let's move on to the pump. I was thinking about doing a protein skimmer on here, but you don't have to do a protein skimmer if you have a lot of movement. So make sure there's no dead zones. You're always kicking up the detritus and any, you know, crap or, you know, gross stuff. So other hobbyists that have this tank have told me to upgrade to this here. This is a bigger pump. This is a Micra Plus, 158 US gallons per hour. And I thought it was going to be too much. I actually have it on the low setting, but I then paired it with these guys here. I don't think they're on Amazon. Ultimate Deskmate Flow Kit. So basically this is these nozzles here. They're like random generators. So you can have them oriented any way. So I have one breaking the surface tension here, and this one shooting off to the left, and it seems to kind of create a vortex. I did have a dead zone here. I know you can see like little legs here. One of the hermits just molted like yesterday, but there was a whole bunch of green crap in here, and it's all gone. So it's doing its job. So we have that for that modification. So we have higher flow and random generation. This is a different light. This is a light made by, who is it? Lohin, something like that. I forget the name. I will try and link it in the description below. So I got that going. And let's see, what else? I think that's mainly it so far. I have a few other ideas for the tank, so keep an eye out. But as far as like this Deskmate, this editing tank for my desk where I can work and just kind of chill out when I'm editing, has really been a fun project for me. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated with, you know, livestock and anything that I come across. I just like to come at my tanks at like a simpler attack method. And what I mean by that is like, I don't do many water changes. I try to leave it alone as much as it can, and obviously make changes when changes are necessary, but there hasn't been that many issues. Actually, there's been no issues so far in the first 5 months. This does have rock from my mature system. It has sand from my mature system, has some water from my mature system. So I kind of cheated a little bit. You know, if you guys are setting this up from scratch, you don't have anything from an established tank in your tank, then, you know, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit while longer while you set this up, and it kind of, you might go through some more algae blooms and stuff like that. But oh, look at him. I love him so much. So great. But yeah, so don't get discouraged if you guys see some algae blooms. Just kind of work through it. But my advice to you is, if you have a main display tank, you can set up these smaller tanks super easy. And if you don't, if you have a friend that has an established tank, make sure it's quality. Make sure it's clean, his sand's clean, his fish are healthy. Ask if you can have a rock and maybe some sand and maybe, you know, 5 gallons of his water, or, you know, 2-3 gallons of his water when he does water change. And you should literally have an instant setup where you don't have to worry about bacteria growing, and, you know, kind of that first couple weeks of establishing a tank, you can kind of shortcut it. You can also add stuff like Dr. Tim's to help it get cycled, but this is, you know, just the easiest way to do it. If I were to set up again from scratch with no tanks at all, I would probably go to a fish store, ask for, you know, some of their rock and water, or a friend or a family member, something like that. But if you guys have any questions about this tank, drop it below. If you guys are interested in cars and coral, definitely hit this channel up, because I do mostly cars, but I'm not afraid to post anything about my fish tanks or my aquariums or any of the livestock or anything like that. I actually think it's really fun, and it's really cold outside, so I figured I'd do this video. People were asking for an update, so here is your update, modifications, and livestock. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one.